How's everyone feeling after the flight back home from South Africa and heading into this big game?
Yeah, everyone battles a little bit with the jet lag for the first couple of days, but I think after that, day 2, you seem to come fine. So for us now, we're all looking to the Lions. So first session today since getting off the plane, and looking to rip in.
How difficult was it to digest that loss to the Kings, particularly because there were so many tries from turnovers once again?
Yeah, it was a difficult one to process. I think you can't ignore the fact that we didn't have a 9 for 60 minutes of the game, so you lose a lot of structure in attack and defence there, whether you're covering the backfield or slipping into gaps in the front. So that's not the sole excuse, but I would put it down to part of the reason why we came up lacking there.
You've played pretty much every other position. Why didn't they throw you in at the 9?
I don't think I can pass enough, mate. Pass well enough.
Was there any lack of leadership on the pitch, considering Sturzak was out?
Leadership isn't an issue for us. Obviously, Sean McMahon and Sturzy was out, but you have people like Mick Snowden who steps in, who's 29 years old. So he's an experienced guy. And when it comes to commanding the troops around the park, I think he did a really good job at that for the 20 minutes he's on the field. Obviously, when he leaves the field and you have to fill that void with a forward, it makes it a little bit difficult. But in saying that, Colby, who slipped into captain, has been captain before at this club. And whilst tactically, leadership in that role was maybe coming up a little bit short, other than that, Colby's a great leader and a great captain. So we backed him.
Tom, you've got the Lions this weekend. You've actually had some pretty close results against them. So even though they're sort of sitting on top of the South African table, do you sort of feel like you can match up pretty well?
Yeah, I think the results over the past 3 weeks, excluding the Kings, we've been very competitive. So our pass against the Lions, we've done well. I think they're an exciting team, and that's an exciting thing for us. I love coming up against good teams, and they don't play your traditional South African rugby. They're a bit more of a Kiwi hybrid. So we've got some areas we're going to look at and hopefully attack them on the weekend.
What do you put down the inconsistency in the Rebels this season? Obviously you have had a horror injury toll, but you did last year, and you were still a lot more competitive than this year.
Yeah, I think similar injury toll. What the difference has been to us is probably losing players like Mike Harris. The game control and knowledge that Mikey had, is something that you need in a squad, and we do have that. But when those players get injured, it's quite unfortunate to put that pressure on new players coming through. That's the professional sport we live in, but when you have 20-year-olds that have never played Super Rugby getting thrown into the fire, it's quite a tough environment. It's a learning curve, so it's going to be a learning process for them, and we can't expect big things from the get-go.
I guess someone like Sean McMahon, even though Colby's done really well at 7, he brings such an energy to the squad and a bit of, mongrel and stuff out there as well, which maybe the team could have done with more, I guess.
Yeah, Shawnee definitely brings a bit of intensity and mongrel. Him and Colby complement each other quite well, though. I see Colby as a 7 and Sean as a 6. Colby's your traditional poaching 7, and he's quite calculated, whereas Sean's all guns blazing and leaves everything out on the field. So, yeah, I think we're looking to get Sean back as soon as possible, and it'll be a big boost for the side.
Have you got any chance of getting him back a few injured guys this week?
To be honest, I haven't really been in the medical room, but I'm not sure. I actually wouldn't know. I can't answer that question.
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
And what have you made of the way a couple of those guys who have come in from Shoot Shield have stepped into the breach? Miller and Sinclair.
Yeah, they've been great. There's been a lot of chat about Australian rugby not having any depth, but you just have to look to Shoot Shield and see players like Will Miller and Hugh Sinclair, and we even got another young lad called Rory O'Connor who's really shown that they can mix it with the best of them. So it's an exciting thing for Australian rugby, and I think it'll quieten those comments coming. So it's really exciting to see, and they've been doing a great job for us, and we'll be seeing in the next couple of weeks as well.
In that first game, did you know their names? Did you guys have to go mate?
I know Will from Sevens, and then Huey played football with his brother, so I fortunately knew their names, but a couple of the boys didn't on the field. But competition and the nature of rugby, you bond quite quickly, so it won't be a problem.
Tom, did the is it obviously you're trying to focus just on the game, but the ongoing sort of the unknown about the club must be impacting the players, even off the field. Like, what about if you've got to sign a new lease and you think, well, maybe we're going to be here in a couple of months? I mean, there's a lot more to it than just what happens in 80 minutes or at training.
Yeah, there definitely is. I think your job as a professional player, first and foremost, is to focus on the game at hand. That's not to say that it doesn't play on your mind, but we've got confidence in our owner, Andrew Cox. He's come and spoken to us and consolidated us on our future as a club. I know the ball's with the ARU, but I think, we have confidence in the club moving forward that we'll be here in the years to come. Speaking of that, the ARU needs to come out and make a decision. Like I've said this in the past, they're playing with people's lives. Rip the Band-Aid off or leave it on. No, not leave it on actually, just rip it off because, like I said, indecision is just going to lead to more players leaving overseas.
Do you know of any of your teammates that are starting to look overseas? Because obviously if they can't sign here, and then I guess the window for European rugby is going to be closing before too long.
Obviously players, regardless of whether a team is being cut or not, are looking overseas. That's just the nature of the business. But I wouldn't be surprised if more players are doing so, because at the end of the day that's their job, and if you cut down a team, that's 30 less jobs available. So you've just got to have a backup plan. Otherwise, you'll be left with nothing.
And what's your contract situation?
1 more year. So, excited to be here for another year. But,
You had a couple of good runs against the Lions. The Kings. How do you feel about your own form? Do you feel you're playing pretty well?
Yeah, I think it's been good. Obviously, I've shifted into the centres now, and it's been good. It's been a good shift for me. I'm still learning. I haven't played there in a few years until now, and Morgan Tunui's been really good in that retrospect. Being a centre himself, so it's been good and I'm really enjoying it, and hopefully that's being shown out there on the field.
Great, Tom. Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
All right.